access level has recently increased. Excellent.
Incoming message.
Welcome, agents, to episode 69 of Behind the Scanner. Your hosts for tonight are Andrew Krug from Arlington, Virginia. Our special guests tonight are Andrew McDowell and Mustafa Said from Overland Park, Kansas. Joining us for the Weekly Truth is Jose Antonio Rey from Operation Essex. And for a look inside the scanner is Fev Games. I'm Kelly Colton. Welcome to the show. Join us during the broadcast in our live chat room on our website, behindthescanner.com, and click on chat. The Q&A tool is enabled for tonight's broadcast. Submit your questions throughout the show, and we'll ask as many as time allows. If you know someone who would make a great guest, submit their information to us at behindthescanner.com and click on Guest Suggestions. You can watch past episodes and subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/behindthescanner, or you can listen to audio-only episodes at soundcloud.com/behindthescanner. And now, your hosts of Behind the Scanner.
Welcome to Behind the Scanner, folks. It is episode 69, and I am laughing because we were just talking about how every week something happens, something goes on, and this week the show was going too good, and I think I just jinxed myself. My batteries in my headphones just died as the video ended. So why don't we do this? I'm going to ask the first question. Jose, can you kick off and fill in for about 2 minutes while I find another battery, and then I will be right back. So I'm glad we got our cameraman Jose here tonight. Let's get the thing started. Let's not waiting longer. It's episode 69. It's Thursday night. It's a little after 9 p.m. Eastern. Our first guest tonight is Andrew McDowell, also known as Agent XZRE, I believe, from Charlotte, North Carolina. So, Andrew, welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, thanks, Andrew. Other Andrew.
I can barely hear you. This is really crazy and driving me nuts. So, all right, before we continue, there's one way that I know that I can trust an agent from North Carolina, especially an enlightened. So I've got to ask, are you a member of the Green Dragons? Yes.
I hate you. I'm not.
No?
No.
Okay, I trust you anyway. I like you. You got a beard, so that works. That's good.
Skate Zion is a good friend. I don't get to see him as much as I'd like because he is about an hour north of me. I live kind of on the north end of Charlotte, and he lives up around Winston-Salem. But the last time I got to do something kind of like being on the Green Dragons with him, we fought over Shard 18 in Mount Airy when the Persepolis Shard spawned. So yeah, I'm not a member of the Green Dragons. Looks like we just lost Andrew, who's fixing his headphones.
That's completely fine.
Yeah,
that's completely fine. I should mention, though, we've been having some problems for the last couple of days in our Hangouts because we've had Andrew, and we didn't know who people were talking to.
Yeah, it's been confusing for me too. And the great thing is I don't have a really good agent name for actually saying hey, Agent, Moo, for instance, maybe, or Agent Mustafa Said.
I think it happens to most of us.
Not a member of the Green Dragons, unfortunately.
Well, I hate to. You do not look like the stereotypical gold farmer. I imagine more MMO gold farmers are Asian. Tell us about how you pay your bills during college.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. This is probably something that most of the agents back in Charlotte don't even know about me. But I actually, do you know what a MUD is, Jose? A multi-user dungeon? Because this is it's pretty much kind of like before my time. It's probably before your time too.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Even though I'm a little bit young, I did get to play with one of those. A friend set up a server with a MUD, and it was kind of fun.
Okay. So I'm going to try to describe the very strange, geeky thing that I engaged in to a bunch of other geeks, but even this might be a little, up the geek totem pole. So this is like before the game, the graphical MMOs we know about now came onto existence, like World of Warcraft. There weren't really so many graphical games. EverQuest was a thing, but I was playing a game, as an older teenager and through my college years, that was a pay-to-play multi-user dungeon. So it was fairly big. There's typically like between time of day 500 to 2,000 players. And what I did is I sold virtual currency. And like you said, I'm not wasn't a typical gold farmer because I wasn't from like China, where oftentimes those Asian countries like dominate the selling virtual currency market for the big games. But I found myself a little niche market, and for a long time I sold platinum pieces in this game for 10 cents a platinum. And it wasn't a lot of money, but depending on what I was doing, I'd make 500 to 1,500 platinum a day through automating and attempting not to get caught doing what I was doing, getting those funds. So I think as an older teenager and going through college, I was trying to avoid, actually having a job for as long as I could. So, yep, that's what that is.
And that, folks, is how Bitcoin is started.
Yeah, not exactly. I'm not that guy, but yeah, fun little personal fact that I think most people who know me nowadays don't know. So I have a long history of like playing games very hard and playing them for a long period of time. Like I don't pick up a game and play it for 6 months or a year. You guys are going to be stuck with me probably as long as the people who played the other games are stuck with me. It's going to be something like a 5 to 7 year thing.
So you were a mudder, huh? Which one was it?
It was a game called Dragon Realms, made by Sematronics. Oh, yeah. You also might have heard Gemstones and Gemstones 3. They were, back from the AOL days. They were, I think AOL originally owned the company and just owned the game, but eventually was spun off. So I think back in the early, the mid '90s, Dragon Realms and those MUDs was a way that lots of people were burning through their AOL minutes.
Yeah. Those were good days. Wow. You got to be younger than
Play
me.
MUDs, Andrew?
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no way you're my age though. How old are you?
I am definitely not your age.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
I to put that a nicer way. I'm 26.
Okay.
So I started playing some MUDs when I was 13 or 14, and I didn't really quit until I was like 21 or 22.
Okay. I feel better now because MUDs. Not too many people are familiar with those, but they can be a lot of fun.
Well, it was my older brother that got me into it. He was probably a little bit closer to your age range. He's 10 years older than me. So
Yeah, that's right. That's right about there. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give away my age on air. It's still a secret.
Yeah.
It's reading backwards now. But anyway, all right. So in addition to gold farming, though, didn't you make a website for broke college students, I think, and how they can make money? What was that kind of all about?
You've really done your research, Andrew. You really have.
I try.
I did, because like I was saying with the gold farming, I was, early on through college, I was trying to avoid having a job, or at least avoiding working, 30 to 40 hours a week while going to school as much as possible. So I was, I've done a lot of, did a lot of, I don't know about crazy, but inventive things to make money while I was in college. So I was just basically, wanted to share that information. One of the things that the website's long offline now, but one of the things I really liked sharing was just how much good food you can get dumpster diving. If anyone, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the documentary Dive. You can find it on Netflix. when you hear dumpster diving, you think, oh, you're getting some trash and it's probably not edible, and you're doing something that's possibly illegal or dangerous or not safe in some way. I think that was my conception when I first heard dumpster diving. But one of the things I was trying to share through that website and share to other people, and I love sharing it now, is that the way laws are with Best Buy dates, food is Best Buy, and then how grocery stores treat it. The Best Buy date is a and all types of foods. We're talking, canned goods, frozen meats, vegetables. The Best Buy dates are very conservative. Established, I think, by whatever government agency does that, and the grocery stores don't want to leave food, up to that date, so they throw it out like 2 weeks early. So I personally spent a lot of time through college dumpster diving my local Trader Joe's, because if I was going to root around in a dumpster, I wanted to get the best food. So I would get like frozen steaks. I knew what meat day was, so I knew which day they threw the meat out. I would come a half hour, an hour later, and get just, frozen sirloin steaks, ground beef, canned goods. Like a whole pallet of pasta sauce once was thrown out because only one of the cans were broken. So that's kind of what the website was about. Also through college I did like some freelance writing and just a lot of, like the information economy equivalent of piecework. And a lot of times that can be better than having a minimum wage job or eating ramen noodles. I think more college students would just if you don't have the money for really good food, just dumpster dive. It's better than eating ramen noodles. Just check and make sure the food's safe.
Did you ever meet somebody in the dumpster while you dove into it? Was there somebody else there rooting around for things? Oh, did we lose him? No! It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it? Oh, jeez.
I can hear things again. Where'd you guys lose me?
Okay, good. No, we heard you all the way up to the end where you said, you recommended it for, just consider it in case, if you needed it. So my question to you was, did you ever run into somebody, like somebody already staked the claim to the dumpster and you sort of landed on them when you jumped in or something?
Actually, no.
No?
But I did get into dumpster diving through Reddit. There's an R dumpster diving, and I was actually able to find somebody in my area. It froze up again.
No, we can, oh, jeez. No, you're back.
Okay. I looked on Reddit when I was looking for information about dumpster diving, and I actually found someone who regularly dumpster dove at Trader Joe's and was willing to tell me his favorite spots, because literally there was more food than just me and him could benefit from. We were having to leave stuff and be picky because there was just so much food.
Wow.
And it's really insane just how much good food is thrown away in the United States.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. An interesting thing about the sell-by dates and best-by dates, those are actually, I think, dictated by the companies. And I've seen instances where the companies will have a best-by date, a sell-by date, and an expiration date, and they're all different. So you're right. They put those on there because a lot of times when it comes to produce, people want to buy the best-looking thing, not necessarily the best tasting thing. If you've ever seen juice oranges are ugly. You're not going to buy those for your kid's soccer game, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about aesthetics. Milk, you can actually drink milk, safely. Once it starts to get a little sour, it may not taste the greatest. It's not really going to kill you. You might get the runs a little bit, but most people they don't want to go down that road. We've become really picky. So yeah. Interesting. Dumpster diving. I hadn't thought about that. I wish I had done that when I was in college.
Hey man, you still can, just for the experience.
Hey honey, I'm gonna take the kids dumpster diving. We're gonna get to dinner for tonight. What do you? She may not. Yeah. She may not. Yeah. I'm frowning on that a little bit.
Also, back to the broke college student stuff. When I was a broke college student, I would also dumpster dive Staples.
Now that I've done. Yeah.
I'd find a safe or a shredder, or sometimes a piece of luggage. Sometimes I'd turn around and sell something on Craigslist for $30 or $40.
Yeah. I've definitely done that. All right, let's for all of you watching out there, you can interact with us live in our chat room. Just go to behindthescanner.com, click on chat up at the top, and then pick a cool name like Mustafa's best friend, and then click start, and then you can join the chat. It's pretty active. Lots of things going on in there. Look at that. Crazy stuff. And we post all sorts of codes and things. So join us in our chat room. It's a good time. We won't bite. All right. Well, this says that I'm a Mexican resistance person, but since Jorge's not here, I am not. So his question for you was, he's Mexican, he's resistance, so maybe he doesn't understand what your name means. What is the origin of your name?
All right. Well, first of all, Jorge, I hope I'm sure you're listening to this later. I'm sorry. I was looking forward to talking to you. What does SCRE mean? Well, the short answer is it doesn't mean anything. A game name that I liked having in the past, just because I liked having really short names for video games. But typically the short names are taken kind of like first. So I tried to type in XRE. So I'm so used to saying XERE that I almost said that, but I typed in XRE as my agent name, and apparently 3 letters is too short for Ingress. So I was just like, okay, well, before I pick my name, I need to figure out exactly how many characters.
Oh, how many characters he
For a short
wanted?
name, I didn't get the one I wanted, but I'm kind of stuck with it now because everybody knows me as it.
XZRE. All right, so completely random and a random short string just because you wanted a short name.
Well, I wanted to do X.
Oh, it's going to be one of those nights, isn't it?
But it wasn't taken, or excuse me, it wasn't taken, but it was too short. So it wasn't supposed to be random. It wasn't really supposed to have a meaning, but it ended up just being 4 gibberish letters.
Gotcha. So I've got a question for you. I'm going to share this on my screen now. Did you ever figure out what in the earth was in your spinach? What the hell is that? That looks like a alien phlegm ball from some sort of like hairless cat.
You still with me, Andrew? I think you cut out.
Uh-oh. We'll wait for him to get back, because I really want to know what does that look like to you guys? If you're watching this at home and you're in our chat room, I don't think it's a stink bug. It's way too shiny, but then there's like these tentacles coming off of it. So Andrew, what is this that's in your spinach here? Did you ever figure that out?
I never figured it out, Andrew.
What did it taste like?
You know, I didn't eat that particular piece of lettuce. I can only assume it was some sort of kind of like smushed up insect. I took the picture of it to show it to my etymologist. So I don't know. I tossed that off. And for the record, that spinach actually didn't come out of a dumpster. That was purchased from Target.
Hey, I'm glad you cleared that up. That was my next question. That's good. So you actually got better quality food by dumpster diving than by purchasing it. Okay.
That's actually true.
I don't doubt it one bit.
Because I don't buy $80 steaks.
Ooh, I don't buy $80 steaks either. Although I'd love to have one and try it. All right. So on a little bit of an Ingress related question. Let's see here. You have had success for, I think, 23 cycles in a row at a time, in terms of the enlightened in your area owning your self score, I guess. What keeps you motivated after all that time to keep doing it and building fields and scoring points and all that? I think I'd probably give up after like 10 times that we owned it. Can you hear us? First the headphones. For 45 minutes, everything is great. And then we get to the interview and all goes to hell.
Blame Moo.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you?
Yeah, we're gonna blame Mustafa. Yes, you're back. You're back.
Oh, okay. I heard your question about the 23 cycles, right?
Yes. What's your motivation? How do you keep going?
Okay. Well, I'm not keeping going anymore because as recently the streak was broken because we had to kind of take a little bit of a step back for anomaly preparation.
Well, I know. I can see you, Jose. I can see you. I feel the same way. When he comes back, we'll have him do the old tried and true adjust bandwidth test and see if that fixes anything. Live, somebody said the other day that it would be so much easier.
I can hear you again.
Okay, try to do this for us, real quick. It's live. These things happen. It's okay. We just laugh it off.
Yeah.
At the top of your screen, where you can mute your microphone, there's something that looks like a cell phone bar. Click on that. That's the adjust bandwidth usage.
Oh.
Drop it down a couple notches, and let's see if that might clear things up a bit.
All right. Well, now we're to medium.
That's fine.
Does that work better?
You're not in the sexy high def. I can't see all the hairs on your face, but I can tell you still have a good beard. So that's.
Well, thanks, man. I'm trying to learn from the best on the beard stuff. Got to ask you about your beard products later, but I guess we can do that off the air. So the 23 cycles. We've recently had to take a step back from that because anomaly preparation. I can't micromanage checkpoints and prepare for an anomaly. But really, how it started is when I first started playing back in December 2014. There had been pretty much like an entire 2014 that we'd lost ammo 2 kilo 10. So I started playing. There was a couple other agents that started playing. Some of them aren't with us anymore. But we wanted to change that. We wanted to be very aggressive about that. So we started with throwing BAFs over Charlotte, but eventually I feel like the cycle score game can be a very emotional thing. One team gets used to winning it. One team gets used to losing it. Oftentimes, the team that's losing a lot stops putting in the amount of effort that they did when they thought they could win. Our first 5 in a row was very difficult, and then it seemed to get easier from there on out. I just changed my bandwidth to low. Can you hear me better again?
Yeah, we'll see if that works.
Okay, it keeps cutting out. So the first 5 were really hard, but winning cycles, some people don't care about them, some people do. I'm a very competitive person, and I don't like losing things. So I latched on to that aspect of the numbers game, when I was a new level 8 agent. But really, we just started recruiting people to do fielding, and I think in areas where people aren't fielding, it's just because you're not encouraging the new players to do it. You're not getting people together for ops. You're not getting people excited about winning the cell score. In Ammo 2 Kilo 10, we have a group me room specifically dedicated to tracking the cell score, taking down fields, and putting fields up. So if there's standing fields that are putting us behind, we're all nagging each other to take those down because, except for now when we're in anomaly preparation time, we don't leave fields up. If we don't have a higher standing count than the resistance in our area, we have a sense of urgency to fix that, and we have a sense of urgency to have a buffer. So if they put up a few 100,000 or a million, we're not going to get blown out because we've already established a lead. So me personally, I can be very obsessive about it. I can be a very obsessive fielder, but something like winning a cell score 23 times in a row is not something that you do just because of any one agent. You do it because you have a team that enjoys fielding and that enjoys winning, and enjoys the tension of trying to win and not just putting up fields, but also counter fielding. Watching the lanes, watching for what other agents are out doing. So it's always a very concerted effort to almost get like that Skynet-like team that's always watching, that always wants to win, that always knows how far ahead or how far behind they are.
So speaking of teamwork, and we mentioned it at the top of the show, but you're from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
How's the anomaly planning going? Abaddon's coming there soon, right?
I mean, yeah, it is. We're really excited. We have not had an anomaly here in Charlotte since long before I started playing, back in 13 Magnus time. And I hear there's a bunch of weird stuff going on back then, like you could just use viruses without a cooldown.
Those the Wild West days, yep.
Yeah, so very, very different game than it is now. I mean, planning's going on. You can't really talk about too much, but hotel rooms are getting booked. T-shirts are being planned. Lots of crazy stuff's going on, getting schemed, but that's like any other anomaly. I'm really excited to have people come visit us here in Charlotte. Even aside from the anomaly, whether you're Resistance or Enlightened, Charlotte's got some things that you might not expect. Because honestly, Charlotte isn't a city that really gets, in my opinion, a whole lot of tourism, except for some sports tourism in the local area in the Carolinas for the Panthers and the Hornets. But one thing a lot of people don't know about Charlotte is that we actually have the largest man-made whitewater river in the world. It's called the U.S. National Whitewater Center. It's where the U.S. Olympic kayaking team trains. And anyone can get a day pass and hop on a whitewater raft without having to, hike into the middle of nowhere and, like raft through the Grand Canyon and, wait for 5 years to get a permit to do that or something like that.
Interesting.
We also have the Renaissance Festival starting up, so if anyone wants to come to the Charlotte Anomaly on November 14th, you can do the Anomaly on Saturday, and if you still want to be on your feet and dress up in a different kind of costume, you can go out to the Renaissance Festival on Sunday.
Is that where you got the sexy hat? Is that your frog jester hat from the Renaissance Festival?
It actually is not. I got this from Agent Koopapotamus from St. Louis, level 16 Enlightened, when he visited us here this last winter. I think I was a new level 8 or level 9 player, and I saw a picture of him wearing the hat.
It's definitely an interesting looking hat. Jose, do you have an Ingress hat? I don't have really an Ingress hat or wardrobe.
I don't.
Yeah, well, I might have to look into getting one of those. So, Andrew, you definitely know a thing or two about Ingress. So, is it true that you gave a 4-hour, let me reread that, a 4-hour presentation on using the Intel map? How to plan, I guess, was it layer fields or something along those lines?
Yes, we did a month and a half ago have a 20 agents gather in Agent Sparky the Wonder Girl's living room in Charlotte, and just have a long discussion about how to use the Intel map and how to plan layered fields. I am really surprised that 20 people stayed that long. We originally planned it for it to be an hour and a half, but everybody was just, honestly, we had my laptop hooked up to the TV and everybody was glued, and apparently they did not grow tired of hearing me talk about Ingress for 4 hours.
That is that's impressive. Hopefully you took a bio break in the middle there somewhere?
Yeah, we took an intermission, and I mean, there were beers, there were snacks, people were in a good mood. The hardest part was keeping people, sometimes keeping people a little bit quieter so that I could talk, because everybody was so excited about Ingress, really couldn't keep focused all the time. I mean, there's only so long you can stay focused on the Intel map.
Real life Ingress lessons. That's pretty cool. All right, so what we announced last week, the guys from Fev Games came on and they talked about some of the updates, the key capsules, that sort of thing. What are your thoughts on those?
I think the key capsule, if it works the way I've heard it's rumored to, what I'm about to say is going to be based on the idea that a key capsule is a rare item of roughly the rarity of an MUFG, that once you have it, you can put 100 keys in your inventory and have them not count towards the inventory. That's what I've heard we think is going to happen, but obviously we don't know. If that is what happens, I think it's going to change the game more than the SoftBank Ultralink did, which really changed a lot for fielding. That's because, very rare link amps were so hard to come by. Now we have MUFGs, so they're not. Now the common, the average agent can hack up a SoftBank.
That's an awesome pose that he just froze in. Oh, darn it.
Okay.
I took a screenshot of it.
Did I freeze in a good pose? Okay.
We heard you. We got you off.
Okay.
Your video is trying to catch up to your audio, so we heard everything.
Well, then I will stop pausing talking when my video acts up, and when my video catches up, I'm just looking like.
Yeah, that's all good.
So I think it'll affect things more than the SoftBank Ultralink did.
Of course, we said that. Now we can't hear anything. All right. So we're almost at the point in time where we're going to be doing the questions and answers when he comes back. So if you
or whatever, there's a lot of people on the coast or something like that. They're more hardcore than me, but just possibly infinite number of keys in your inventory. It's just such a big change.
Well, it'll be. Yeah, I guess you could have an infinite amount, but.
Well, if they don't count towards your inventory and a key capsule is just one item, you can just keep getting them and keep filling them.
Yeah, I guess, right? But you could have 2,000 capsules, and if each capsule only is limited to 100, because I don't think they're going to let you have unlimited keys per capsule, because the whole pulling the information and the images and all that, so you'd be limited to the max times, I guess, 2,000 capsules.
But I mean,
a lot of keys. But.
Right now, I've hacked up, I think, 10 MUFGs, maybe given some of them away. If I was able to get 20 key capsules in 6 months, and it was just 20 items, but I was able to hold 2,000 keys. Nowadays, I'm holding 400 to 700, and it's really hurting my inventory. I had to, I'm looking at having to give up so many keys for the anomaly, and it's painful. But you really have to prioritize when every burster counts.
Very, very true. All right, so for those of you watching, here we go. We're going to get ready to do the questions and answer segment. So if you're watching on YouTube, just click on the Be Part of the Conversation that is at the lower part of your screen by the play controls. Click the little arrow, the little banner, and on the next screen, click the square grid icon, and then simply Q&A, and then type in your question there. We'll ask Andrew on the air live. If you happen to be watching and you're partaking in the IRC chat room, just type it in there. I'll go through that, and we'll pull some questions out of there as well and ask them on there. So coming up real soon. Let me ask you this question before we get into the viewer questions. How would you describe yourself as a player?
I guess I'm kind of an obsessive fielder. I have a joke that I like to tell, or an anecdote when people talk about how much they love playing with other people. Sometimes I say that it's, pure Ingress is enjoyed by yourself 2 to 4 hours from home in a car at 4 a.m. while it's raining. So that's kind of what I tend to lean towards. I like, I play oftentimes through the night, long Friday nights, long Saturday nights, sometimes long weekday nights that hurt in the morning. But I love fielding. I love, playing with the team on anything. I love showing new players, how to get started with fielding and kind of evangelizing for fielding in my community, because stuff like layered fields or really big fields are things that are not obvious to do when you first start playing. Some people seem to research how to layer fields on the internet, and recent developments like ingression have really helped with explaining some of those finer details to new players. But I say I'm a fielder first. I'm not the best operator. I'm not the best planner, but I love doing it, and I love doing it with people who are motivated to do it. And I really enjoy kind of the adrenaline of going out and trying to do something, and you don't know if it's going to work. You've committed 2 to 3 hours of driving. You're hoping it's going to work. I think I get bored if I'm just smashing portals and linking some together and just kind of wandering around and playing. I need to feel scared. I need to feel energized and be out there. I think a lot of us have had the experience where we're out playing Ingress and your hands are literally shaking and you feel nauseous because you're worried you're going to screw something up or just something's going to go wrong with what you're planning, or the other team's going to figure out what you're doing. So that's what I enjoy about the game. That's kind of how I describe myself primarily, as just kind of an obsessive fielder, but also a binge fielder. I will not play for 5 days, just getting my Sojourner once a day, and then I will go out and play for 7 hours straight or something like that, or do a big field op, because I'm going for that kind of that rush.
Right. I too play for the rush, which is why I play without pants frequently. It's fun to just run from the police and everybody else. Catch me if you can. All right. So we got some questions for you. One of them is from Daniel Budowan, a fellow.
Oh boy.
Skate Zion. Yep. It's not so much a question; it's more of a statement for you. He says, "Are you already on a team for Charlotte because the Dragons have an open spot?"
I am not on a team for Charlotte yet. Thank you for the invitation, Daniel. I will leave it up to the team builders for deciding exactly if I'm needed somewhere else. But otherwise, that seems like it would be a lot of fun, because I know the Dragons don't typically fail in their tasks. They seek out volatile portals and none shall pass. They stay green. I've heard that Green Dragon volatile portals, the next year they still have 4 Axis shields on them because they've been recharged the whole time.
If I do make it down to Charlotte, I might just sort of seek out Skate Zion and just sort of follow them around. I may not be part of the actual Green Dragons, but I'll be like the Green Dragon egg. There you go.
You want to be like the Squire?
There you go.
Because I think the kilt that you wore in DC would kind of work with that.
Here's your scanner, my lord. Would you like some water?
You want to carry Daniel's external battery?
There you go.
External battery around.
I will always have a fresh external battery for him to use. Absolutely. No, I do plan to get down there, so we'll see. And if I do, I'll definitely seek you out. All right, let's ask another one here. We've got a couple from Shambletron in our IRC chat. Ooh, I think my connection just froze up. Here it is. So, what is the percentage of split of? Okay, let me rephrase this. So, playing versus planning. How much playing do you do of Ingress versus how much planning do you do of Ingress?
Oh boy, I think that kind of depends on. Well, I'm gonna set aside anomaly stuff, because anomaly stuff is a special world of pain. So I'm not gonna count the last month or so.
He's thinking about it.
Chat rooms doesn't count as planning. But it's definitely more on planning. It's definitely more on planning if you kind of think about planning loosely. It's actually a tough question. It's not something I really keep track of.
It might not be something you really want to keep track of.
Yeah, so I think it's something I really want to keep track of. But I will say that recently we did an amazing field flip operation where the Resistance put up a huge field, and we wanted to redo it with more to retake the lead in our cycle. but that made me realize how much time I usually spend into planning fields when I was rushing out of the house in under 2 hours after a field happened to try to get a field up in a few hours. Because typically when you're planning a field, I mean, I think I'll spend 3 to 4 hours going over all the details and reaching out to people and setting things up like the night before a morning field.
Yeah.
Like doing a big op is going to be a 1 or 2 hour thing. Maybe a little bit longer if you have a long drive, but the drive is the least stressful part. Compared to, you know, operators and field planners, you know, they're working for hours and days before anything actually happens. And the bigger the plan is, the more pre-work there is. So I'd have to say maybe my planning to play is like 70% planning, 30% play. But it ebbs and flows. Sometimes I won't really be out playing for a week or two, but I'll help plan some stuff or I'll help doing some operating. And then, you know, operating is somewhere kind of between planning and playing because it's a type of playing. So sorry if my answer isn't super specific.
It's all good.
But I will say that, you know, I'm apologizing to the person who asked the question. But I think it's always more work on planning. Key farming is a close second. There's always going to be more time and more energy, I think, or a lot of times more time and travel time spent key farming for big ops than actually carrying them out. But it's really all the behind the scenes efforts that make stuff possible. Like every time you see somebody throw a huge field, you have to imagine there's anywhere from, you know, 5 to maybe even 500 people that were clearing links, planting fields, doing all the other stuff that doesn't put your name on the leaderboard and make your name show up in the scanner. So like only a few people can get that rock star roles. But, you know, key farming and link clearing is what you always need people for. And you always want more people when you're doing big stuff. So I think oftentimes actually throwing the field, if you're doing like a field op, is the easiest part compared to all the other things. Because if I'm going to throw a field and I'm going to throw layers, I usually have some portals lined up and I'm going to hit all those portals in a row. But if I'm clearing links, man, I got to be on it. I got to go to like, you know, 3 or 4 whatever number of portals that I may not have been to before, and I need to get to those places in a timely fashion and take out all those portals. And it is not like a straight shot like it is with actually throwing the fields.
We just are trying to figure out. Our next guest is going to be actually doing the Fev Games update, and he's got a spot he's reserved for us, and he has to get a little bit more time. So we're running a little bit long. There's a couple more questions from folks, but I will forward those to you that you can then answer on Google Plus if you want to. For those of you that ask a question in our chat room, you should have received a code if I saw it. If not, Blade's Edge, I just saw your question come in. I'll forward you a code too. But let's move on real quick. You know, we've got a kind of a tradition here at VTS, for better or for worse. We give every guest 60 seconds at the end of the interview to talk. Whatever you want, give shout-outs. The floor is yours, my man.
All right. Well, one thing I was really excited about giving a shout-out to my community for doing recently is we recently flipped a field that the Resistance in our area did. Covered us, like 5 million MU, 10-hour turnaround. We all got out there, rushed down to the opposite ends of the triangle, farmed keys, and threw it for the checkpoint 2 checkpoints after they threw 5 million. And it was just amazing. We were able to put up, 12 800,000 layers in 10-hour turnaround with having none of the keys beforehand, and just like jumping into it and agents hitting the road before we even had a plan written out. So I just like to give a special shout out to agents Miss Whatsit, Miss Witch, Silver Skunk, Lidar, Float, KPO, Precious Chumba, and Rich T-Bone for working on this operation with us. It was one of the things I most enjoyed. One of the most enjoyable local and most kind of like, just really big challenge, a lot of fun that we've been able to accomplish here in Charlotte locally lately. So thank you so much for having me on the show, Andrew. You'll have to tell me more about your beard products, later on off the air. Like how do you keep it so shiny? Maybe a little bit of the salt and pepper look. I don't know if you're like dyeing that on purpose to get that look.
No.
But thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, my man. It comes with age and experience. It's the badge of experience right there. So, and I will let you know if I'm actually able to head down to Charlotte. I really want to try to do that. So thank you for coming on and sharing your stories.
You should, man. I mean, the hotels are going to be a lot less expensive here than they are in New Orleans. We got the U.S. National Whitewater Center. Maybe we could do some tandem kayaking if you come here. Like we could go out on the river together. Then you can share all your beard secrets with me then.
And only one will come back in the kayak? Is that all of a sudden you're going to have like my beard on your face? Is that how it's going to work?
Well, we could do some sort of Highlander thing on like one of the sandbars out there on the flat water.
I'm game. I'm game for anything. I'll try anything at least once. So.
That's a dangerous thing to say.
You only live one time. You can't just write everything off. All right, we're getting into the weeds, but thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Take care, my friend, and we will move on to the next segment here. What do we got going on? I think we've got a guy named Jose Antonio Rey who is joining us from somewhere down in Peru. You're going to tell us about Operation Essex and the Ingress storyline and everything that's going on, Jose? Is that true? Is that what I heard?
Well, it's probably time for Mumu to do that.
Oh, you're having Mumu do it? Oh, okay.
Let's have Mumu do it.
Does Mumu know that he's doing it? He's going to be doing the Fev Games stuff. All right, so how about this? Mustafa, from this point on, the show is all about you. You're going to be doing the Weekly Truth, the Fev Games, and the interview. So
I'd be lying if I said I didn't already think that was going to happen. So
here you go. Take it away.
Which I start with, Weekly Truth or Inside the Skin?
Yeah, let's go with the Weekly Truth first.
Well, real quick, tomorrow over on Fev Games, I'll be releasing a recap of everything that's happened throughout the month of September. So I'm just going to kind of talk about what I wrote in there that'll come up tomorrow. I guess the major update is pre-orders apparently still going on for Ingress Origins, the comic book released by Tycho. It seems to be the story of how the Niantic project was created and how all the researchers came into the discovery of XM. So the new release date for the book is October 14th, 2015. Other than that, in my opinion, the investigation has been a little bit quiet. You've had Susanna Moyer and Hank Johnson. They all seem to start digging into the mystery of Abaddon. And the one thing I've managed to pick up from it was that people trying to keep it a secret are willing to use any means possible, even potentially lethal means, of silencing the people who are going to get too close to it. That's not guaranteed, but I'm just reading between the lines, and that's what I'm picking apart from it. Other than that, the investigation's been pretty quiet, and I think we're all just waiting for the abandoned flesh or anomalies on October 10th in Boston and in Houston to see which researchers get resurrected there and where they align, and where they end up. So that's kind of what's been going on with the storyline this whole month, actually.
Excellent. Yeah, because we don't really know where they're at. There's a lot of theories. The Niantic researchers, was it at the end of Persepolis when they all disappeared when the nest exploded? Is that right?
It was Shonen.
Shonen. That's right. At the right. Afghanistan. So yeah,
right.
I'm trying to figure out where they're at and what happened to them. There was also something recently with Enoch Dolby, one of the sensitives in the hologram, or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
Hank Johnson seemed to encounter a hologram at Delphi. He also received a USB drive, which he seems to be digging through. He'll probably release whatever's on there next couple of days.
Interesting. More to come very soon, I think, would be my gut feeling.
Next week will be an interesting week with the anomalies approaching.
Definitely. All right. Well, why don't you transition into your next role? So playing the part of Fev Games tonight is going to be Mustafa Said as well. What's going on in the Ingress scanner app?
So, if I'm correct, I might be wrong about this, but just before the show began, a new APK dropped, and it seems that it's just typical bug fixes for the scanner. But the main important thing is the bug fix for the capsule key for the unload distance. So, I guess when you unload your capsule, you can unload by distance, and it seems to be fixed. So that's no longer a problem. Yeah. The APK came out today, but there's a very slow rollout, so you may not see it for a couple of days. But when you do get it, it will fix it 100%.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Well, that's good. So they released it last week. There was a bug, and they fixed it within a week. So
yeah,
you're out there crying and complaining. There you go. Yeah. They're responsive. They're listening. They're realizing what's happening.
That's always good.
So before we go to the third part of the Mustafa hat trick tonight, we have to pause and do everybody's absolute favorite part of the show, where I get to do my best Vanna White impression, and there they are, the codes of the show. These are multi-redeemable, multi-shareable, multi-action, multi-way switches. I don't know other multi-words. Pop them into your scanner app, pop them into your Intel Page browser, and redeem those codes for lots of goodies. I have no idea what they are. They should be.
We may have multi-hacks.
We do have multi-hacks too. Yes, absolutely. So you might get a multi-hack from the multi-redeem, multi-shareable, multi-purpose code. Leave them up there for a little bit longer. I see Mustafa is typing it in. There we go. I don't know if it's good. If you redeem it and you're in our chat room, go ahead and share what it is so everybody can ooh and ah. Usually it's for AP, some items, but we've had some.
Actually, it wasn't.
No?
No, it actually wasn't taking care of the code. I'll let other people do that.
I think a week or two ago there was a SoftBank and a capsule maybe, so. All right. That's been up there for a while. Going, and gone. All right, so our next guest is known to the Ingress world just by his first name, Mustafa, or affectionately Mumu. So everybody, please welcome to the show, Mustafa Said. Thanks for joining us here behind the scanner. I really appreciate it. Sorry we're running a little bit long tonight, but it's always good stuff, and I don't really want to cut anybody off when they've got great stories to tell. So
that is absolutely no problem, and thank you guys for having me on the show. This has been a long time coming, so I'm really glad it's finally happening.
It has been. It has been. I'm so glad that you're no longer sitting in a McDonald's anymore, connecting to things and talking to us.
Yeah, long time ago. I've kind of upgraded a little bit.
Yeah, nice. So having known you for a while, I think maybe when you were, I think I knew you when you were still in high school, perhaps? Was it that long ago, 2-3 years ago? Yeah.
No, I've been in college since 2012, so I didn't come to us in November, so.
Okay, so maybe when you just started. But
it actually was my first semester in community college.
Right.
So.
Well, I know that you enjoy creative writing, and obviously, as you just said, you're in college these days. But I don't really know what you're getting your degree in. Are you able to keep your writing skills sharp? So let's start with the first one. What are you getting your degree in?
I'm getting my degree in English. I'm actually getting in creative writing. My hope is that I can get a master's in education and then hopefully become a professor of creative writing. I was inspired to take this path because back in high school I had a creative writing teacher who just inspired me so much, and I thought I want to do something like that. Also because I don't have a whole lot of other skills, so the idea of teaching creative writing just sounded really nice to me.
That's cool. So you got inspired by somebody and you realized that you've got an advantage, something you enjoy, and that's creative writing. So awesome. Good for you. So, I know you shared over the years some of your poetry and things that you've been doing. I know that you've been doing this for, I think, since you were a kid, right? 9 years old?
Yes, ever since I was 9.
Yeah, so how did you get started in, I guess, just drawing and writing and all this? and staying with it. I mean, my kids like to draw, but I did too when I was a kid, but I don't really doodle anymore.
Yeah, so back when I was in elementary school, I wasn't exactly the most popular or well-known person, so I kind of had to find ways to keep myself busy, keep myself happy, and reading definitely became one of those things that filled in the loneliness and filled in the time. It was fun, and because I had a big imagination, I was able to just kind of really get into it. One day when I was in fifth grade, I kind of just took the book and said, I can do this, right? So I go to my computer, I open up Microsoft Word, and I start just typing stuff out on the computer. And that's kind of it. I just experimented with how to write a story. And I used the books that I read so much to kind of write my own stuff.
That's cool though, because a lot of people, I mean, hell, I'm pretty old as we already established. There's things I'm passionate about, but you've actually found something you're passionate about and are going to try to make a career out of it. And I think that's pretty admirable. I commend you for that. That's cool.
Thank you so much.
So I know for a while, you also didn't really have an Android phone back in the early beginning days of Ingress, and you sort of threw yourself into the lore of Ingress. Are you so far down the rabbit hole that you can never abandon it? Do you still, obviously, you still follow it because you're putting out the weekly, the monthly type recaps? What keeps pulling you in? Why start off with, you couldn't play the game, but why start off with just diving headfirst into the story?
So, like I said earlier, I have a big imagination. So when the story came out, I was like, this has to be real or something. There's no way this is a game. Then when Ingress came out, I had my phone, and I kind of thought, should I just quit this because I don't have the tools to keep going, or should I want someone who's sticking with it? So my mindset was, I'll stick with the story until I get an Android phone, until I can play the game. It'll dump the story, never touch it again. Of course, by that point, I fell way too far in the rabbit hole that I couldn't really get out, and it's actually the reverse. I don't do a whole lot of Ingress stuff, but I do a whole lot of stuff with the storyline. Yeah, not a whole lot else. I just kind of chose the story first.
But that's kind of one of the cool things about Ingress, right? Is that there's multiple ways you can enjoy it. You've got the storyline, you've got, so I guess those are sort of the trackers. You guys are following what's going on. You've got the guys who are looking for the puzzles and cracking all those codes. You've got the guys who enjoy hacking and blowing stuff up.
Yeah.
There's different ways, and then from within that,
there's specialists in everything.
Yeah. I mean, even the storyline, right? You can be the guy that is just following it from a linear perspective. You can be the person that's hunting and trying to figure out, where other information is coming from, what's nested in the resources you've got, doing the research on things as they get pulled, because things are definitely not linear.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could go back in time and tell my past self everything that was going to happen, I wouldn't believe it. I would not believe it. With the information I had back in 2012, there's no way I could see the story getting so complex and convoluted by now.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and we'll touch on it in a little bit. That, all right, you know what? Let's skip ahead and touch on it now. I think it's a little bit difficult for maybe new players to get involved and get a grasp of the story and where to start, those sort of things. I myself probably didn't pay much attention to it for the first couple of years. It just, for me, was all about the scanner and blowing things up. Nothing against the story. But then once I started researching it, and it is actually really, really interesting. And I think the vast majority of the player base is missing it. So how do you, if you talk to a new player and they were interested in understanding the storyline, where would you direct them to? How do you even explain, like, in an elevator speech pitch, 30 seconds, what is the Ingress storyline?
I would need way more than 30 seconds of an elevator pitch. Before I answer that, I did want to say that, like, the idea of the large player base missing out what's going on. Like we said earlier, there are specialists in every field, and there are a lot of players who don't need the story to motivate themselves to play the game. They can very much do it without it. My personal, I guess, mission or purpose. The reason that I'm even still around is I want to take everything I've learned over the last couple of years, apply it to the story, and change it so it's an easier, simpler way to understand, so that somebody who's brand new can read my work and say, okay, I can read this without getting incredibly confused or getting the sense that the story is convoluted. My job is to make the story simpler. It's not an easy job, but I definitely enjoy it. So I do also, to answer your question, it's a lot easier to learn about what's going on now than it ever was back when I started. Because back when I started, there were, at least I don't think the Niantic Wiki was just began, and there were groups like Operation Essex or other groups to help kind of break everything down. Nowadays, you have Operation Essex, the Wiki, there are the videos, there are the Niantic novellas. I write my series over at Fev Games every month. They're just different ways of kind of going about learning everything, and you don't have to learn it all in gigantic leaps. It can just be small, tiny baby steps. So if somebody wanted to get into the story, it's a matter of just taking small steps. The most important thing is to stay relevant. Don't start from the very beginning. Start from what's happening like a week, 2 weeks, or even a month. Just get a general sense of where the story is heading, and depending on if you fall down the rabbit hole or not, you may end up discovering all of what's happened in the past over time.
That's really good advice, actually, because there's a lot of people, who probably don't come from an ARG background. ARGs traditionally they don't release their stories all at once. They don't release them in a linear fashion, and so people that aren't familiar with that probably want to just pick up something and sort of be told what's going on. Um, but I hadn't thought about that before. Yeah, if you just kind of focus on what's current, what's relevant, what's the contemporary lines going on right now today, or even from a week ago, if it interests you, you'll figure out pretty quickly where to go to find out the rest of it, what's happened, or as Paul Harvey says, the rest of the story. So,
The interesting thing is that though a lot of people don't come from an ARG background, what I've learned poking around ARGs in the last couple of years is that even though you may not have a background in ARGs, you may have skill sets or knowledge that can be applied to those ARGs, and they may help discover things that no one else can figure out. I know from experience within Operation Essex, there are investigators there that blow my mind all the time. They have this knowledge and this background in certain things that I just don't have. They can provide a perspective on what's going on that I can never hope to see. So,
right.
What one person sees is not what another person sees. Our perspectives have to be, we have to share them in order to see the full picture. The more people looking at it, the more we'll discover.
Very true. I think it's about hands, but many hands makes light work. In this case, many eyes makes light work, I guess.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. All right, so real quick, we'll do our little PSA for all of you watching at home tonight. If you want to be part of our chat room and communicate with the guests or other people or the Fev Games bot, just go to behindthescanner.com, click on chat at the top, and just pick a name, Fev Games Fembot, and just jump in there. Water's fine. You won't scare you away, I promise. We also give away codes there too, so. All right, let's see. So is it true that you gained most of your AP? So let me back up. We kind of established that early on you didn't have an Android phone.
Yeah.
So is it true that you gained most of your AP from level 1 through level 8 by redeeming codes?
Sadly, I'm not actually level 8. I still haven't hit level 8 yet. I don't know if I ever, but I know. The reason is that my real life and whatever I have a constitution in Ingress life are oil and water. They do not mix. There are issues and problems come up, and generally speaking, it's hard for me to play. Even though I live in an area that has tons of portals, I can travel a whole lot. Just going out to play can just cause a lot of unwanted questions, and it just causes a lot of awkward moments for me at home.
I'm gonna find the code for you that gives you like a million AP, and then you could be left late.
If one exists, maybe Niantic has it. If Niantic's listening, they could always send me one. But yeah, my real life and my Ingress life, whenever I have a has one, they don't mix at all. So playing, it's not that I can't play because I don't live near a lot of portals. It's not that I can't play because I don't have a lot of. It's simply a matter of my lives don't cross well. So I'm still level 5, and I hope to reach level 8 someday. So if I can just find an area with enough portals and enough time to do the job right. And I see Jose's screen. Are you like level 8? I can't see you from here right now. Yeah.
I don't think it's in focus much, but.
But yeah, I did ask some friends who were wanting to give me some passcodes to get some AP to. I was so close to hitting a new level, and I was like, all right, pass me a code for like 100, 200, 300 AP. Just help me get over the edge, because at the time I was out in the hospital taking care of family, and I just could not run around to go play the game. So I had to kind of find another way around it.
Yeah, no, hey, real life comes first. Like we've already established, there's many different ways to get involved with Ingress and play it.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be in the scanner. So.
Yeah.
And not even the storyline. You can do like what our first guest talked about. Planning, Andrew. Planning, looking at the intel. Helping out, being an operator, and all that sort of stuff.
I've looked at the intel map a lot of times, and it's just my computer is not the fastest. So or maybe the intel map's just I don't know, but it does take a lot of time for things to load up. So I don't know. I'm not the most patient man in the world.
Kind of dovetailing into that, speaking of, about friends and real life and all that, have you been able to convince your friends that you are not a secret agent yet?
I should probably backstory that. So when I started my second year of college, my second year of college, 2013, 13 Magnus was going on, and there's an anomaly in San Francisco, and so Brian Rose decided to mail me some swag from 13 Magnus in Seattle. He got some of it signed by a lot of amazing people, and he sent it over to me. So I had to convince a friend of mine to drive me up to pick up the package, and ever since then they've thought I was a secret agent going on secret missions. In fact, when I left school for about a year, they thought I was on a mission for a whole year. They think I work for 3-letter agencies and stuff like that. It's very strange in my opinion. And every time it gets worse now because whenever we meet new people and I introduce them to my friends, the first thing I say is, hey, did you discuss a secret agent? You probably should have a secret agent. So even new people get indoctrinated really quick.
Well, how do you even explain to your friends what Ingress is? Can they relate?
Some of them already know what Ingress is. Some of them don't actually like it, so they don't really play it. Explaining it to them, they just think it's more tools I use as an agent to do certain things, to accomplish certain goals. It all seemingly ties back into the I'm a secret agent premise. So I can't explain Ingress to them without them thinking it's just another tool in an arsenal that I don't have to think exists because I'm not actually an agent.
You just have to you have to tell them that you can't explain it, but you just have to trust you that around here you're kind of a big deal. That's all I gotta say. Around here, I'm kind of a big deal.
The funny thing is, I once came close to telling them about the NIA, and I'm like, yeah, there are 3-letter agencies that do exist. I don't work for them. I don't know them, but they are out there, and they're like, so you do work for them. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Which is why you got the perfect cover. You're in college and taking a creative writing course. Nobody would suspect that you're actually a spy.
Except all of my friends who know I'm a spy, and they think that the agency's going to take them out because they know the truth. It gets really confusing.
I bet you it keeps them really loyal, though, huh?
Oh, yeah, to some degree.
You can't cross Mustafa, man. He'll get you whacked.
Yeah.
All right, so what would you say is your greatest Ingress accomplishment?
Greatest accomplishment? I mean, I don't know. Actually, my greatest accomplishment would be starting the game. Like I said, I didn't have an Android phone, so the local resistance leader lent me his phone to play the game for the first time. I hacked my virtual portal here on campus, and it was an incredible moment because after so long, I was finally getting to actually try the game that I wanted to play for so long. So that's probably my biggest moment.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's again, that's another aspect of it. It's meeting other folks and seeing, what they're willing to do and share and all those different experiences. So that's cool. Let's see, what else can we ask you? How about this? We are going to be heading into the Q&A section in a little bit here. So if you're watching at home on YouTube, just click the banner at the bottom of the screen right above the play controls. It says be part of the conversation. And then from there in the upper right-hand corner, click on the little square grid icon and then click on Q&A. You can type your question there. Alternately, if you are in our chat room, behindthescanner.com, click on chat. You can join us there and just type your question there for us. So for the chat room guys, for the Fev Games bots, for Nicholas Moore and everybody else, I expect you to submit a question for Mustafa.
They've been planning questions for so long.
Good question.
I'm interested to see what they say. No, they can. I've given them free control. They can say whatever they want, and I'll answer it.
Fair enough.
No holds barred.
All right.
Exposed.
Let's see. So where do we leave off? How about is there anything you regret as a result of playing Ingress? You had a negative experience, or it, I don't know, maybe altered something in your real life. It affected that. I don't know.
Yeah, so one of my biggest regrets is that Joe Philly came out to Kansas City and I couldn't meet him because I had family in the hospital at the time. He was coming into, I think, KCI Airport. I was in downtown, so it would have been too far of a drive to meet him, but we just didn't have time to properly meet up. Joe and I always joked back and forth how we would meet someday. And we were both very excited for that day. Sad to say that day will never really come, and it does hurt a lot that I came so close, but it never happened.
Yeah, he was definitely an interesting guy, and he'll be missed by a lot of people. And
Absolutely.
we also
only recently did I find out his large-scale history, doing all sorts of stuff. He was incredible.
Yeah, the Joe Philly stories are definitely crazy. Brian
People
Rose
love
got
to
one
think,
about his scar that goes
people
from.
love to think I'm a secret agent. That guy really was one. He lived an incredible life.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing half the things he did.
We, unfortunately, on the Enlightened side, it seems to be a bad time of year, lost Frank Maxwell, Agent Resco from Ireland, who truly, if there's good people in this world and pure people in this world, Frank was definitely one of those guys. He started cross-faction relationships almost immediately in Dublin and got people together, and they met at pubs almost every single week. He was well known throughout the Ingress community, not just in Ireland. It was really it was an unfortunate accident that happened. Nobody was expecting it, and it's just sad that another one of our really, really, really good guys in this world, not just Ingress, but the world in general, has left us to go on to better places, I guess. But
I think the beautiful thing about Ingress is we meet people that we would have never met otherwise.
And you know what? They leave us with a lot of memories. We were actually lucky enough on Behind the Scanner to interview Frank. I think he was like episode 29. It was really early on. Might have been even before that. And we also interviewed him for the Ingress report when we were doing recaps of anomalies. And he was good. He's just one of those guys that was just he's just one of the good guys in the world. So our heart goes out to his family. But yeah, so those experiences. Joe was a good guy. There's a lot of stories out there. Sorry you didn't get to meet him, but his memory definitely lives on. So I have no idea how the hell to transition from that into something else.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna go straight to the
viewer
questions. Yeah, viewer questions. Let's see what we got here.
Real quick, I do have to say this.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I've checked my room out. I've checked the room out here for this event, and I'm about to lose my time on it, so I can answer one question. I'm going to bolt out real quick,
Okay.
renew it, and then we'll go from
Yeah,
there.
sorry, we ran over. All right, so
No, you're not.
God, who? I
Still,
don't know who's got the best question. There's about a
I
there's
will
like
come
a
back, though, so I won't be
30 second,
disappointed.
there's like a 30-second lag. So let's see if the guys in the chat.
So I gotta check out right now, so I'll be right back.
All right, you go check out. If
I'm
you're
gonna show
watching
you guys,
and you're
I'm
in the
gonna show you
chat.
guys my really awesome profile picture from Robert Walker. Made a really awesome Batten logo. So look at that for a second.
All right, so if you're watching and you're in the behind the scanner chat room, you have like a minute to come up with the best question that you could ever ask Mustafa. One that is hopefully not the how much moo can a moo chuck if a moo could chuck moo, but something legit. And we'll ask him that, and we will wrap it up for tonight, I guess. So, oh yeah, he's got since we don't have an official logo, his Jose, can you show his screen, his feed? I think that's one of the, I don't know if open source is the right term, but guys created like the fan logos for Abaddon and then released them on.
Yeah, that's one of the Robware logos.
Yeah,
It was created a while ago. Since we don't have an official Abaddon logo yet, I'm expecting to get one this upcoming week. So yeah, I think that logo's pretty neat. If you have any logos, you should share them with Google Plus too.
All right, I think he's back, but yeah, that was a cool one. I initially liked that one, but then the other one with the points and the embedded.
Okay, back online. Sorry, it didn't take too long.
So the chat room thinks that the legitimate question to ask you is,
Yeah. Oh god.
How much blame would a moo get if a moo could blame moo?
I legitimately don't know how to answer that. I feel like I should backstory the blame movie thing. Okay, should I or should I not? What do you think?
Go for it. It's your show. Go for it.
This isn't much of the series of the show. I'm just a guest. So it's just an inside joke between me and a whole bunch of friends, and they'll say it at every possible chance they get between me and my friends over at Fev Games. And I feel like one of these days it's gonna catch on and become way bigger than just an inside joke. I'm praying it doesn't. But as far as how much blame, I don't know. The thing about me is I don't know what I can get blamed for besides storyline stuff.
I think the answer to that though is just 42. That's how much blame you can
Yes.
get. Right.
That's the answer to everything. So naturally.
Absolutely. Oh, we do have a correction. I guess the logo was Robert Vaughn, not Walker.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, I messed up on that one.
Here's a good one. Here's a good question. This is this is from Moo Moo Head in our chat room.
So many of them.
So actually I changed my name. I'm Red Moo Moo Cup.
Yep.
Do you look forward to Pokemon Go, and do you think your family would be more understanding over Pokemon Go versus Ingress?
I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know my brothers are going to have to try it out. It's more of a thing where it's like my parents don't understand really anything about anything. They came from a different part of the world, so they don't really know a whole lot about American customs and culture and stuff like that. So they may not be so understanding about it, but the difference between Pokemon Go and Ingress is I can run around anywhere and hopefully catch them all. So even if they don't really understand, I'm still gonna go run around my phone all the time to catch every single Pokemon I can get my hands on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to get out there and play with my kids.
It's gonna be a blast.
What other questions we got here? How about... Oh yeah, hey, here's a good one. So this is from one of your Operation Essex fellow investigators, Yixing Li. Tell us your thoughts on Abaddon. What do you think it's all about?
I wish at this point I had more ideas. Abaddon is incredibly wrapped in secrecy, and that's probably the biggest thing about it, is that whoever or whatever wants to keep it a secret, they want it to stay that way. It's somehow tied to the origins of the Manic Project, but that's all we really know. I wish I'm sure that by the time the anomalies kick off, we'll have a much deeper picture. I am deeply worried though about anyone who gets too close to it. Real quick, back in the beginning of the investigation, anyone who got too close to Niantic would get silenced by the MIA. I wonder if it's the same trend here. You know, anyone who gets close to a bad gets kind of taken out of the picture, so to speak.
I can tell you, anytime that we've had somebody who was close to Niantic on the show would pretty much crash. So there's definitely something funky going on.
Coincidence.
Okay,
Maybe.
once,
Maybe.
twice, 3 times, not every time.
There are some investigators I want to see in the show.
You know, I would love to get them all on, and there's
3 in
many
particular I want to see on.
There's many people that we've reached out to. If you're watching and you have a suggestion for somebody to come on the show, behindthescanner.com, click on guest suggestions, and I'll show you. All you got to do is put their information in, and we will reach out to them. I wish we could get more people on the show. The problem is there's only 4 weeks in a month, and we do it Thursdays, so there's only 4 Thursdays in a month. But just go to behindthescanner.com, type in their name, put that information in, and we'll reach out to them. So,
Like I
all right, my
said,
friend. Give us those names, please do.
Well, 2 of them are Clue and the Acolyte. And the reason I say them is because there's one interesting thing about them. We know nothing about who they are before they were introduced into the story. We know Clue came from Scotland, but that's it. We know that Clue and the Acolyte aren't their actual names. We know nothing about who they really are. Having them on the show would be able to show us the people behind those individuals, those monikers, those identities. We'd be able to learn more about who they really are and why we should trust them. The last person is Hank Johnson. Just seems like an interesting guy to have on the show.
Yeah, he probably has a lot of stories. I can tell you that we have reached out to one of them, perhaps, and we'll see where that goes. It can be kind of hard to pin.
Well, yeah, naturally. I'm hopeful it can happen.
Yeah, usually they reach out to us because they don't want to be found. They're self-preservation for many obvious reasons.
Yes.
But we'll see what happens in the coming weeks.
I'm hopeful any of them or all of them can come on sometime soon.
All right. I think we're running really over on time. I don't want to have to make you pay for another 15 minutes or so.
No. I mean, at this point, I've got about 20-something more minutes, so I can run out more minutes. I can run out the clock at this point.
Let's see. Oh, there's so many trolley questions.
Just ask any of them. I honestly don't mind at all.
So Nico,
I knew it was going to happen before this came in.
This guy named Nico M wants to know how many Pokemon have you caught?
I don't remember the exact number. I used to play Pokemon as a kid, and I don't remember when I stopped, but somewhere in the 200 to 300s, I guess.
Nice. All right, here's one from our chat room. If you could travel anywhere to play, where would you go?
San Francisco. Well, okay, wait. San Francisco's one. I want to play also in Hong Kong, London, and I also want to play in Paris. I can meet Jose.
Oh. San Francisco is fun. Everybody's taken with the Cupid span arrow thing.
Yeah. I'd love to go for the abandoned finale.
The food out there was amazing. I still think the best finale I've ever attended was the 13 Magnus one out in San Francisco.
That was incredible. Just being able to watch it was unbelievable.
Yeah. All right, let's see. What else we got here? We got, why don't you like bots?
I'm going to preface this real quick. So there's a bot in one of our Hangouts, and it asks a very odd question and does very odd things. I'm pretty sure it doesn't like me, and I'm going to leave it at that. The bot doesn't like me. I don't like the bot. That's the rule.
All right, fair enough. Here's a pretty good one. People are changing their names, so I'm not even.
Don't worry about it.
I have no idea who this one is originally, but it's a good question. So since level 8 seems kind of far away for you, how about the Sojourner? Is that something that will ever happen? Are you trying to get that badge? Can you at least hack once a day?
The Sojourner Dodge? Yeah, I can easily hack once a day. I've been doing that a lot lately. Hacking is one of the very few things in the game I actually can do. So definitely something that I'm trying to aim for.
Nice. So, let's see, you said you're level 5, right?
Yep.
Alright, so you just need AP. You need to figure out how to get you some AP.
In all honesty, like lately I've been trying to focus to get into badges, so I can just grind my way to level 8, maybe just past the level 9 if I'm really lucky.
You gotta
The
take
badges
Just 900,000 AP.
Yeah,
like
just
I know that after level 8 you need badges on AP to unlock the next level, so I thought if I get the badges first, all I have to do is focus on the AP, and a lot of things in the game can grant AP, so the badges are probably the tougher challenge. They're not giving me an incentive to actually play more often, so.
I bet you if you were able to go out to any of these anomaly finales, that there would be a whole group of people who'd be willing to help you get the remaining, 600K?
I'm sure tons of people would be willing to help out.
We need to start that hashtag, AP for Mumu. Let's see, what else we got going on? The bot. Oh, the people are saying that the bot actually loves you. Don't hate the bot.
Yeah. They think it loves me. They think
From
it
the
loves
bot.
me.
The bot says, "I have nothing but love for my little target of blame."
See, the problem is I'm sure somebody's like running that because typically the bot doesn't have like a handler or somebody. I promise you, this bot is sentient to some degree. It's kind of like Ada.
So let me ask you this: how did you hear about Ingress? We ask a lot of people this every time they're on, but you didn't have an Android device. How did you hear about Ingress?
I had a friend of mine reach out to me and show it to me. Told me it was they showed me the investigator board, and it was very odd because I wasn't expecting that kind of information. They just said, "Hey Mustafa, check this out. This may be up your alley." I told them, "How do you know it's up my alley?" And they said, "Don't worry about it." I haven't heard from that person since, by the way, actually. So only time I've ever heard them was when they directed me there. So I looked at the investigator board, drawn in from there.
All right, and I guess lastly, we'll ask this, and then we'll wrap it up. What is your funniest Ingress story? I don't know where this came from. Yeah, what is your funniest, your most entertaining Ingress story?
Most entertaining one? I don't know. I don't have a lot of entertaining stories. I mean, being with my friends at Fev Games is probably the most entertaining thing I have there, and most of that stuff's like classified. I don't want to talk about that. So, I don't know. I don't have an entertaining story. But, I mean, the story that's probably impacted me the most is when it's the day that I realized that I was starting to become a better investigator. At the very least, I thought people were starting to look at me more. I got a PM request from someone I'll probably leave anonymous, and they told me to join a semi-secretive group of people who are digging into the story a lot deeper than others. And one thing I'll remember from that statement is people have been watching you for a very long time, since even before you started jumping into the story. And I wondered, well, I didn't really know what to make of that, because from November 2012 until May 2013, I kept quiet about my involvement with the story. It's only until Operation Boastman that I started speaking out and talking about storyline. So how people knew about me before then, bit confusing. But after that, that's when I realized I started, I guess, gaining a lot more attention, gaining a lot more notice, and it was interesting to see.
That doesn't help your case for trying to convince your friends that you're not some sort of like spy.
Yeah, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. But they don't know that, so. Well, then again, the video's got to be like publicly seen worldwide, so
yeah,
they may watch this and
45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, it'll automatically get posted up to YouTube. So
I guess if somebody punches my name into YouTube and says that they might get some second thoughts.
All right, my friend. Well, it was a pleasure finally having you on the show. I appreciate you coming out. And thank you for wearing the multiple hats of Operation Essex and Fev Games and giving us all the information. if you folks out there want to know more about what Mustafa does and what he writes about, and his writing is really good, go to fevgames.net. You said you're going to have something coming out tomorrow, another recap of the month. Is that right?
Hopefully tomorrow, if everything gets worked out properly. It should be up tomorrow.
Cool, cool, cool. And thank you personally for everything. Most recently, helping me with that 10-minute video. Your insights. It really made everything just sort of flow. So I'm glad that you're online late at night, so I can ping you and like, oh, dude, what was that one part about that one thing? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
it's both a pleasure and an honor to get to help you and to be on the show. I'm glad I finally knocked this off my English bucket list, and I hope there's more that I get to do in the near future. Thank you guys for having me on.
Excellent. Thank you, Mustafa. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it. You can join us next week. We're going to have more people on. Hopefully, we won't have the technical issues, but it's live, so hey, it kind of goes with the territory. And with that, I guess that's it. Happy hacking. Enjoy. It's not full screen. It's not full
Now
screen.
with all these technical issues, you're getting me nervous. I have to record a live program on Tuesday. It's an assignment for school.
It's yeah.
And they're giving me like a full set and cameras and everything.
I'm telling you, man, every week, like they were in the Hangouts, Andrew had no issues with his video for like 45 minutes, and as soon as